Recording in process.
It doesn't tell us that. It just starts recording. Okay. Ah, here we are. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham namasami. So today, last week we talked about the simile of the tortoise, and we just touched on the simile of the chariot. So these two similes talk about the sense faculties, the six sense faculties: the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. Sense gates, and how we protect the mind actually from unwholesome mental states. We're inevitably, when we're in the world, when we're walking around in our daily activity, we're going to have contact at the senses. So if we see something or hear something that's pleasant, it may give rise to strong desire or anger or aversion or greed, some unwholesome state, or even like usually delusion is considered like a ignorance in the form of just not being aware. But I think we delude ourselves with sense contact intentionally by distracting ourselves. So I think that's one thing we can also be aware of. So this is a simile, this next simile, and it's actually not just this, has three aspects of the gradual training, this simile of the chariot. It starts out with the simile of the chariot, and then there's so that's guarding or protecting the sense gates, and the other two are about moderation in eating and moderation with sleep, or devotion to wakefulness. And that's a better way to think of it. And I'll tell you about it more, excuse me, when we get to that simile. We should be able to get through. It's not a simile, but a section on that. That one actually doesn't have a simile, I think. But anyway, so we can start. And welcome, everyone. It's good to see everybody.
And you're welcome to have your camera on or off. If you speak when your camera is on, it will show on the recording.
Yeah, if your camera's on and you say anything, it's a speaker. We're on speaker view, so just be aware that you'll be highlighted. But if you don't mind that,
Welcome.
so you can do that. So I'm going to share, since we like to share. This is a good thing. Let's see. I'll get that. And we have sharing. We learned how to do that in kindergarten, hopefully. I want this one. I think that's the right one, is it?
It looks
Looks like
yeah.
Looks like it. Okay, there we go. Still struggling with this technology, but hey, I'm trying to move this one there. Perfect. Okay, so this is a simile of the chariot. And when I was on retreat, on secluded retreat I just had the hard copy of the Samyutta Nikaya, the connected discourses of the Buddha. And I like to read suttas when I'm spending much of my time in meditation and retreat. It nourishes my practice. And then this one particular sutta and the simile really resonated with me at that time. And so it's still a important sutta to me. But I have here, what I've done is I've gone to Sutta Central and we have some, excuse me, we were given a gift of the wisdom publication Nikayas electronically by Karuna Buddhist Vihara. And so I took the extract of Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation. And Yanika's doing something with it, moving things around a bit. Okay, so we can start reading. So that's why I have, and I've put Bhante Sujato's in a different font than Bhante Bodhi's. Would you read, please?
Sure.
Just
Bhikkhu Bodhi?
yes, start with the Bhikkhu Bodhis.
Bhikkhus. By possessing three qualities, a bhikkhu lives full of happiness and joy in this very life, and he has laid a foundation for the destruction of the taints. What are the three? He is one who guards the doors of the sense faculties, one who is moderate in eating, and who is devoted to wakefulness.
Okay. Thank you. So I also wanted to just mention before I forget that both Bhante Sujato and Bhikkhu Bodhi use the same reference numbers. The way they reference the suttas is the same. So this is a Samyutta Nikaya, or the connected discourses, or Bhikkhu Bhante Sujato says linked, and Bhikkhu Bodhi translates it as connected discourses of the Buddha. So if you want to look this up yourself later, this is a reference number. So would you read Bhante Sujato's now?
Mendicants. When a mendicant has three qualities, they're full of joy and happiness in this very life, and they have laid the groundwork for ending the defilements. Bhikkhave. Oh, I see. That's the Pali. Do you want me to read the Pali?
Oh, you could read yeah, if you would.
Tihi bhikkhave dhammehi samanangato bhikkhu deva dhammehi Sukhasomanasa bahulo viharati. Yoni chasa arada hoti asavana kayaya.
So this is very beautiful in that we might think of sometimes guarding the senses is translated as sense restraint or seen as sense restraint. And it's not like putting on blinders or plugging our ears up or holding our nose or something like that psychologically. It's more that we're protecting our mind from that sense contact. So it says that these qualities, if we develop them well, if we understand really what the Buddha is trying to point us to, and what kind of training this is. This is these are three aspects of the gradual training that he's talking about. Then the result will be happiness in this very life. So if we're moderate in eating, we'll be healthy. We'll have the right amount of food, to support our health. We won't overeat, and we'll eat mindfully. We'll appreciate what we're so these are and then if we are devoted to wakefulness, not oversleeping. If you can't sleep, I had a difficult night's sleep last night. Or not, Ajahn Brahm says, don't deprive yourself of sleep intentionally. Don't force yourself. So it's the right amount of sleep. In the suttas, it has a prescribed time period, but I've heard a number of teachers say, unless you're on really deep retreat and you're getting into the jhanas and things like that, you need more than 4 hours sleep. You need to take care of yourself. If you're in a situation where there's a lot of sense impact too, Ajahn Pasano said that uh he was in the city, and he was in Bangkok or something like that, at a retreat center, and he was sleeping like 6 hours. Someone is unmuted, I think.
It's
They're okay
yeah.
now. Okay, so anyway, and that was the right amount of sleep there, but when he was in a very quiet monastery, then he could get away with less sleep. So anyway, the idea is that these bring happiness. There's this long word, sukha somanasa bahula. That's 3 parts. I broke it up into 3 parts. So it's translated here as abundant ease, happiness full of physical and mental comfort. Bahula is much or many or abundant or something like that. Here we have sukha, easy, comfortable, pleasant, good, contented. And I've heard people translate sukha as happiness, but I think it's a sense of pleasure, which would be happiness. And somanasa is mental pleasure, happiness, gladness, joy, positive state of mind, good mental state. And bahula is abundant, full, lots of. It's literally, when you see this lit, that's lots of. I mean, it literally, not literally lots of. Okay. So then we can go on to each of the each of the uh, trainings, each of the elements of the gradual training. That there's 3 here. So would you read?
And how bhikkhus is a bhikkhu one who guards the doors of the sense faculties? Here, having seen a form with the eye, a bhikkhu does not grasp its signs and features, since if he left the eye faculty unrestrained, evil, unwholesome states of covetousness and displeasure might invade him. He practices the way of its restraint. He guards the eye faculty, he undertakes the restraint of the eye faculty, having heard a sound with the ear, etc.
I think I was hearing you say mendicants.
I was saying bhikkhus.
Okay. Oh, you were saying because.
Was I reading the correct?
Yes, you were
Okay.
reading the correct one, and now my mind, because I didn't sleep well, my mind is.
Yeah.
And I also was grabbing a sip of
Signs and features.
grabbing a sip of something, so my mind was a little bit distracted. So I just took a smaller piece of Bhante Sujata's translation. When a mendicant sees a sight, so when you see bhikkhu or mendicant, just think of the yourself as a practitioner. You can apply it to yourself. Well, this is a universal teaching. It's not just for those who are in robes. So when a person sees a sight with their eyes, they shouldn't get caught up with the features and details. So, and the simile of the tortoise, we talked about this. The nimitta, or the mark or symbol or indication. And my understanding of this is it's a when it's a the like we define something by it's a when we see something or hear something, like I can hear a sound and I'll say it's traffic, but then I listen really carefully, then I can hear a truck, a motorcycle, and I start defining the different aspects. Or okay, so then I say, and there's a loud motorcycle, and I might feel, oh, that person's always riding too fast or something. So that's the individual secondary characteristics, anubhyanjana. So the signs and the features. So generally there's traffic, and then I might start to see, like um, just looking at the individual characteristics of the different sounds within that general traffic sound. Or I could say there's an orchestra playing, and then I'll listen and I'll hear the sound of the violin and the viola and the flute and thing, and I'll go, oh, that's so wonderful, and oh, they're playing so beautifully, and I'm distinguishing different sounds. And so it's okay to enjoy, but it's just like it's grasping. The grasping aspect of it is what uh makes it problematic. So Bhikkhu Bodhi, I have all of the different sense gates here, translated by Bhikkhu Bodhi. Having smelt an odor with the nose, having tasted a taste with the tongue, having felt a tactile object with the body, having cognized a mental phenomena with the mind. A person does not grasp at its signs and features, or its thing. What did he say? Is the caught up in the features and details. Signs and features. Ah, yeah, I don't know why he chose features. It's kind of inverting it in a way of where the way Bhikkhu Bodhi is. Details makes sense. But we can get obsessed. They use that they use the example of somebody we might be attracted to, and generally see a person, and then it may be a gender that you're attracted to, or like within a certain age range, this person, and then there's like their hair, their eyes, and you start obsessing the sound of their voice, uh different. And then so a person so that you get obsessed, and then you're grasping at these things, and can bring up unwholesome mental states. For a mendicant, it's a disaster to be sensually attracted to someone.
Not necessarily.
It could be, it could be,
Yeah,
it
it's a
could be,
warning.
it's a, oh, okay,
yeah.
so to be carried away
Yeah,
and to act on it would
They're-
be a disaster.
pretty
Yeah,
problematic.
yeah, so well, you're right.
We're
You-
both right.
We're both right. My sentence wasn't quite clear of what I was trying to say, but yeah. So I could notice, and it's like a warning to me, or somebody who, I mean, whatever, like I'm going to use something like an alcoholic who's in recovery, and then they see the sight of a bottle of some kind of liquor on sitting there, and the cap is off, and and then they look at the label and it's this the favorite type of whatever it was that they were drinking, and then there's the aroma of the whiskey, and then there, or whatever it is, and then so then their mind it goes to overwhelmed. This is overwhelmed by the senses, and then they're grabbing the bottle, and they have there's this tactile sensation of the bottle in their hand. So it's like at any point before they pour even when they pour it, by the time they get it to their mouth and tasting it, then it's over with. That's gone beyond. And then they're binging. So this is the danger of being overwhelmed by the senses. But somebody who is in recovery might just see a bottle on and they just get the sign of an alcoholic beverage sitting there. They glance at it and they just say, I see it. I'm not going to start investigating what it is any further than I know that that's danger. So and it's a little bit different than, it's like knowing, okay, I see inside myself the urge to pick it up and pour a drink. I'm not an alcoholic, but an alcoholic might have that experience of, oh, somebody carelessly has left a bottle sitting there, and then they see it, and then they go, okay, I can I'm, they're protecting themselves. It's not like they're depriving themselves. If they were to indulge, then they would really be harming themselves. Um,
Eventually, you get to the point where you understand clearly, this is not for my benefit, this is not useful.
mhm,
And you
mhm.
begin to see, it doesn't matter if that's sitting there, it's not mine, it's not useful.
And then, yeah, I think someone
But then further along in the training, and so
further
no,
along.
this
Yeah.
is why we have the protection and
Hmm.
the guards.
Hmm.
It's to give us that leeway to work into a full restraint. Now, if you're in a situation where you just have to bring in restraint amidst it all, you do it. You do it.
Yeah, that's for you, but it's for your protection.
Yeah.
And then, so then that person might have walk away, and then let's say they'll go to a meeting and say, I saw it there. I felt the urge to pick
And
it up and pour a drink.
went
And
right.
I said, I'm not doing that. And
Mhm.
then as they go into the recovery deeper, and they've really then, yeah, like you're saying, they'll see it there, and then they won't even feel the urge to pick it up. So this is like, I'm using this as an example of an extreme situation where you can really clearly see the danger for that person and how they're protecting themselves, rather than say, oh, well, that's really restraint is just kind of, oh, there's the sutta where Magandia is saying the the Buddha is a destroyer of life, because Magandia is a hedonist, and they think that the happiness comes from indulging in sense pleasures, and the Buddha is speaking about protecting the mind from this kind of indulgence. And then so the Buddha eventually converts Magandia. We see showing him the danger of that kind of thinking, that all our happiness comes from indulging the senses.
Once we
So
have that higher happiness, this restraint becomes much easier. Um, it's, in monastic life, having the rules, some of it is to just give us that safe container in which to start to see things clearly. And once the seeing clearly has happened, it isn't so cumbersome to be amidst the sense difficulties. But even then, one has a sense of it's not for my greater happiness. It's like the arahant who can put on a personality to be relating with people, but they know it's more peaceful not to be carrying it. And so you may still have dinner, or, with, uh, I'm thinking of a layperson here who's going to the dinner or the whatever. But the joy is not in, there is still a tactile pleasure, but it is not clung to.
Yeah, so if someone serves a monastic who is well guarding the senses, I mean, the or there's like there's the food that's put out on like you go to a big event, uh and then people are bringing out their best dishes and desserts and all this kind of stuff. And then this comes to the next, but anyway, so you would take what you need, and even, there'll be some that's very tasty,
Yeah.
and maybe some of it that you, because you sometimes you don't even know what you're putting in your bowl. What is it? Especially if you're in a foreign country. I've been in a foreign country. It's like, what is it? I don't know. I'm putting it in my bowl because everybody else is eating. It must be safe. So, so some is pleasant and some is not pleasant. And then, so the mind is not reactive to it. Uh,
It doesn't push away that there is pleasant. It doesn't push away that there's unpleasant. Now, there's an acknowledgement of how it is without the attachment and grabbing after it. So I would just want it to be clear that it's not that with liberation, you don't eat, you don't sleep, you don't
right. No, that's absolutely it.
you don't engage with senses, because we will continue to have senses in this body.
So, I don't have a timepiece. Do you have the timepiece?
It is 8:30.
Okay.
Half.
Okay. So here we have Gutta Vara, and so it's translated here as with sense restraint, but we're saying protecting the mind, guarding the doors. So there is some amount. It's just like I had spoken about last week. When you have a small child, you have to use a little bit of restraint for their own safety. A parent will, like a 2-year-old or 3-year-old or 4-year-old even, maybe even 5, depending on the kid's disposition. You have to watch them carefully not to get or set things up in your home so they don't do things that harm themselves. So sometimes you do have to use a little bit of kind restraint for your own benefit. Or just, yeah, just seeing and then bringing the awareness of, with the contact of the mind, at the mind door, unwholesome states might be arising. That's the tricky one. And it's like memories, or it's in reaction to some sense contact. Then we start proliferating, and so, but the sooner we catch it, you don't want to allow the child to run into the street. You catch them before they even get close. So this is a simile that's quite beautiful. Suppose because a chariot harnessed to thoroughbreds were standing ready on even ground at a crossroads with a goad on hand. Then a skillful trainer, a charioteer of horses to be tamed, would mount it, and taking the reins in his hands and the goad in his left hand, and the goad in his right hand, would drive away and return by any route they wants, whenever they want. So too, a bhikkhu trains in protecting these 6 sense faculties, trains in controlling them, trains in taming them, trains in pacifying them. In this way, a person guards the doors of the sense faculties. So this, it's like a team of horses. So say maybe you have 6 horses, and then you're the charioteer. This is the charioteer, maybe mindfulness, our mindfulness, and so we're aware. And then when the senses are tamed, uh, it says trains in controlling, taming, pacifying. So we have these words here I translated here. Arakanta, guarding, watching over, protecting, and then some yuta, restraint, harmlessness towards, controlled together. So this is a Indriya Samyutta, is often translated as restraint, but this it says harmlessness, which is really interesting. And then Dhamma is taming. It also has restraint, self-control, and then upasama, calmness, tranquility, stillness, peace. Oh, I have this twice, upasama, ultimate peace, epithet for nibbana. So, if you have a really kind trainer or tamer of horses, there's a really beautiful relationship between the horse and the tamer. And then the horses can all work together as a team if they're trained, and they can take up the rider very swiftly to where they wish to go. And where are they wishing to go?
Nibbana.
But then there's this idea of the crossroads, I think, that means that they can enter the 4 jhanas, and they're able, if the mind is really trained and tamed, then it can enter the deeper meditative states. Do you have anything you'd like to say about this?
Yeah, I mean, it was just commented last week about, kind of the martial stance on suttas, some of the suttas, like this can be this analogy. And that works for some people and it doesn't work for others. I think you could, I feel like I have the image of a Montessori school. There was a bhikkhuni who was a Montessori teacher beforehand. And so the way that you create the space that's safe enough, that's contained enough, that has the things within it for training and learning and growth. So you can create analogies that get toward this same and wish for a relationship with the senses, a relationship with nutriment, a relationship with slumber that is wholesome and supportive. And you'll realize in that a good relationship is not one that's in excess. And so this is another way of like weaving into this same sense of why are these 3 characteristics valuable? So if the particular imagery isn't optimal for you, feel free to create an imagery that is, so that you can come to what it's underlying it is, coming into a right relationship with the supports for life and the nature of having a human body, which most of us on the call have. That is where we can do the same work.
I think somebody else.
Well,
Never mind.
yes, I think there are others here.
It says, in the same way, a mendicant trains to protect, control, tame, and pacify these 6 senses. So, it really is, it's not en- entirely passive work we're doing here.
Mhm.
I think that's a misconception. But I think if we think about the words protecting, taming, calming, this word calming, I like passive, and it's for our own benefit. It's just like if a well-trained horse, I know people who I've never had a horse, but someone who really loves their horse, if you just think of a relationship with a single horse, even, the you have you're not going to just allow the horse just to go out wherever it pleases when you're out on a ride. The horse maybe just to go into the neighbor's field and start eating up the crops or something like that. But you you have to guide the horse, but they're tamed and trained in a particular way. And so, but there's a nice relationship. It can be really nice relationship. Yeah, this one person I knew she would always ride bareback on the horse, and the horse was very sensitive to her, direction.
Mm.
So, anyway, so the idea is that we are working with the mind intentionally, and a lot of it is our awareness, and especially awareness of just a very flickering of unwholesome mental states that may be arising, and how learning through experience how to protect ourselves. And it takes time, just like if you were training an animal, a horse, or a child, a lifetime of guidance. And so here's the next sutta. I'm not sutta, it's the
Yeah.
next section of the sutta, and we might go through this a little bit more quickly because
Mhm.
we're getting through our time here. Would you read this one, please?
Sure. And how practitioners is one moderate in eating? Here, reflecting wisely, a practitioner takes food neither for amusement nor for intoxication, nor for the sake of physical beauty and attractiveness, but only for the support and maintenance of this body, for ending discomfort and for assisting the holy life, considering, thus I shall terminate the old feeling of hunger and unease and not arouse a new feeling of being stuck and having heartburn. And I shall be healthy and blameless and live in comfort. Edits are mine.
Okay. So it's when a mendicant reflects rationally, there's this word, on the food they eat, not for fun, indulgence, adornment. This is funny. Or decoration. I don't know why Bhante Sujatra Trust. This makes sense. Beautification, that, because in the time of the Buddha, especially, there's certain, and now too, you eat a lot of blueberries or a lot of something or other, and it's supposed to be good for your complexion. Um, but anyway, so I shall put an end to old discomfort and not give rise to new discomfort. And I will have the means to keep going. That means that the support for the body, blameless and comfortable abiding. So we chant this every day. Newa Dewaya, Namadaya, Namandanaya, Nawibusanaya, Yawa Dewaya Masakaya, Satitiyaya Panaya, Vihingsu Paratiya, Brahmacharya, Nugahaya, Iti Puranancha Vedanam, Patihankami, Nawancha Vedanam, Nupade Sami, Yatra chame bawi satyana wachita chapasi viharo chati sadhu sadhu. So yeah, so we before eating, and then there's also an English translation that we might recite as well, but we say wisely reflecting, and Bhante Bodhi says,
Rational.
no, that's
Reflects.
Sujato.
Oh, reflects, yeah.
Does he say rational too?
No,
Reflecting wisely.
That's where we get the,
Reflecting wisely. So we say wisely reflecting. I use alms food. And rational. So yoniso here.
well, in particular, what I like about the word rational here in regards to food, actually it goes to your next poly, so maybe I'm jumping the gun. But the first word you have listed there is the matanyo. Matanyata. It's knowing the correct measure, the ration the food into what is actually supportive for the body. Often my short reflection for myself is, may this be nutriment for the body that today I may practice well.
So yeah, so there's this is knowing the correct measure, knowing the limit, moderate. And then the patisankha is reflecting, carefully considering with due consideration. And this reflection we do prior to eating. So we may have more than we need in our bowl. And I might be sitting there, say, wisely reflecting, I use all, and then I see I took an extra cake or whatever. Okay, I don't have to eat all of this, really. I know it's wasteful, but then I feel kind of embarrassed that I've overfilled my bowl. But at this point, I still can avoid overeating, or I just try to slowly eat and eat mindfully and just be aware of my body and how much the body actually needs. Because you get to a point where sometimes I put in what I think is the right amount, and I realize because of the density of the food or something or what's going on in my stomach, it's too much. So then I stop. You stop when you know that it's the right amount. And then you also learn through this experience. So there's this word yoniso, and I don't have it here. It literally means womb. Somehow I didn't get the literal along here, but yoniso is going to the source. Here it is, literally according to the source. But by itself, one of the translations is womb. That's what it is. So the source or the origin, and for some reason, there's these other it's just like an English word has multiple meanings, a single word. Here I have all these. Did you just pop that in?
It's a miracle.
I said, oh, look at that. I didn't remember I put that in there. But here we have womb. Yes, a conception, birth, rebirth, species. But I just took what is actually the actual, in this context, no, source, origin, literally womb. And then it just says literally according to the source. So this is two different dictionaries, I guess. It says literally womb here, according to the source or where it comes from. So this is an interesting simile. Just as a person anoints a wound only for the purpose of enabling it to heal, or just as one greases an axle only for the sake of transporting a load, so a bhikkhu, reflecting wisely, takes food for assisting the holy life. So that's the ultimate reason why we're sustaining this body as a mendicant or anyone that's a monastic. It's for assisting the holy life, but we're sustaining our lives. And what purpose are we sustaining our lives? This is something we should consider, along with, am I eating too much or too little? Why am I eating? To sustain our life, to keep healthy in order to live the holy life. And so if you have yeah, so you wouldn't be, I think it's interesting as anoints a wound only for the purpose of enabling it to heal. So let's say you have some very expensive salve and you don't have a wound, you're not going to just like slather yourself with the ointment. You want to keep it just for the sake of healing that wound. And that's an interesting analogy for eating too. It's like we feel discomfort. We feel it's when we're hungry. If anyone has the experience of actually being hungry and they don't have the opportunity to get something to eat, if you've had that experience, you know how painful that can start being. But often we don't even allow ourselves, when you have unlimited access to food in this society, not everybody, but many of us, if you have unlimited, they don't, people don't even allow the little inkling of hunger to occur, or they're just eating for sensual pleasures. So, or if you fasted, you know that period of time when there's that hunger and it's really strong, and then it passes. Uh, so, so it's just for as it's really needed, not for, yeah, maybe the ointment feels nice when you're rubbing it around and it smells good and all this kind of stuff, but you're just kind of indulging in it rather than using it for its purpose. Or just one greases an axle only for the sake of transporting the load. If you put too much grease on the axle, it'll get all gunky. It'll get full of, so it's the right amount and only as needed. You're not going to keep putting oil on the axle and just, it's just too slippery and it gets all full of dirt and just gets gunky, and then it gets, then it hardens, and then it makes the wheel not operate well. So you just have to do the right amount and as it's needed. I think this is what this particular simile is talking to, speaking to. And it doesn't look like I got Bhante Sujata's translation of that for the,
Well, timing wise, maybe we,
yeah, so anyway, so then we go, how is a bhikkhu devoted to wakefulness here during the day while walking back and forth and sitting? A person purifies their mind of destructive states in the first watch of the night while walking back and forth and sitting. They purify the mind of obstructive states. So this is devoted to wakefulness. So if you look at this, what they're actually doing, what is this quality of wakefulness? It's not just like staying awake watching TV or something, right? It's like the wakefulness is being really towards awakening, right?
yeah.
Not just forcing oneself to stay awake. It's to for the actual bodhi, the actual being awake. So through the first and the middle watch of the night, they lay down in lion's posture with one foot overlapping the other, mindful and clearly comprehending after noting in mind the idea of rising after rising the last watch of the night while walking back and forth and sitting. They purify the mind of obstructive states. And this way, a bhikkhu or a bhikkhuni or any practitioner, a Simile, uh, is devoted to wakefulness. And that's Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation. And then I have Bhante Sujato's a very brief extract. On the last watch of the night, they get up and continue to practice walking and sitting meditation, purifying the mind from obstructions. And this is a avaraniya, obstructive states, impeding, hindering, and then literally to be obstructed. So this is abandoning the hindrances and parisodhati, cleans, purifies. So we're purifying the mind, and that is how they're committed to wakefulness. And this is wakefulness is jagariya. And I've known somebody named Bhante Jagara. There's there's a Ujagara. Being awake, wakeful. Yeah, I think it's more than just, you know, taking, keeping our eyes open, being a zombie, walking around mindlessly. It's really to wake up, to awaken, and anuyat, applying oneself, practicing, doing, and literally yoked alongside. So this is a practice. So yoga is a practice, and it's devoted to a particular practice, not the hatha yoga particularly, but spiritual practice. And then I have here, the conclusion, for some reason, the Bhante Bodhi doesn't have the reiteration of the beginning in his translation. When a mendicant possesses these three qualities, they're full of joy and happiness in this very life, and they have laid the groundwork for ending the defilements.
Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. So here we have yoni again, and arada as in the commenced, begun, started, won, accomplished, and or succeeded. So this is laying the groundwork. Was the yoni, actually. I was trying to find where the word was for laying the groundwork.
Well,
But it says reason, cause, grounds, basis.
yeah.
So that's where that is. And then and the asavas, Bhante Sujato translates as defilements, but I think that's too vague. And taints is how Bhante Bodhi translates it. And but you see, it's discharge, suppuration, outflow, effluence, and the commentary says defilements. But we know it's these are the mental states that keep us in samsara. And if we've worn them away, exhausted them, eroded them, depleted, or destroyed them, then we've become an arahant. So I think if there's a brief question, it should be very brief because we just have 5 minutes. We could put it to gallery view. Let's see
You
if I
want to
can
unshare or
take the share screen away.
Mhm.
Stop, and then we can put it to gallery view. And if anyone has a very brief question, that we could answer very briefly.
Nora, did we answer your one from the chat? Okay, good.
And if someone has a brief question, then we'll close and we can continue the conversation off
Off of recording.
the live screen if no one I don't see a hand up. So let's close. Thank you all for your kind attention. And we will close with homage to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Okay, I disappeared. Araham Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavantam Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Sangham Namami. Thank you all and YouTube land for your kind attention. And we will now